Hello and welcome to Brewskis and Housekeys. I am Nicole Kostelecki.
And I am Nick Papantanakis.
And we are here at Remax Alliance in Old Town, Arvada, enjoying some brewskis and gonna give you guys a market update.
It's time. We have officially gotten our numbers in for the month of May, and we have officially found a new brewery that we might be in love with. So there's a lot of new.
A lot of news.
A lot of new to talk about. But speaking of new,
yes.
Okay, anybody who is listening, odds are you live in Colorado. It has been unseasonably wet.
Yes, it has. It's been annoyingly wet. And I was just picking weeds from my yard.
That have grown out of control.
Insane.
Oh.
I mean, like,
yeah.
Gosh, well, I can't tell you. They're like this high. And it was bad. I did the lawn mowing yesterday and weed whacking. That took about 3 hours. And then just tackled my garden areas today.
It's bikini bottom.
It's bad.
There you go.
It's so saturated.
It is.
Seriously.
Yes.
It's and those weeds
That's
like
a good one.
It's not
Bikini bottom.
it's not a pleasant like situation with those weeds, especially. I mean, because like you normally there are those people on the block, we've talked about them in other episodes, that just don't care. But for those of us that do, you look at those and you're like, I can't. It's nice because the ground is soft, you can get them out easy, but they're overgrown, they've gone nuts.
Yeah.
And we finally had a dry day. So what I was getting at is we have sunshine. We've had sunshine since
Yay!
yesterday afternoon, and it's been. I think I've heard more lawnmowers in my neighborhood in the last 24 hours. And that's great. I did mine under like threat of rain in record time.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't my best job, so I have to go back.
Crooked line.
No, my lines are good, but I had to raise the blade to highest level. It's not as short as I'd like it, so I'll probably hit it again in the next day or two. It's only been 2 days. I probably will hit it again in another couple days.
Yeah.
It just needs to happen.
But you can't let it go for too long, otherwise you're in trouble.
No.
You at least week tops.
It's
tops.
like hard. My wife gets tired of me saying, I'm like, oh, I wish I could mow today. And she's like, Nick, just go mow. I'm like, I can't. It's dumping rain. Or I can't. It's just finished dumping rain. And I talk about it a lot. And she sits there with like the perpetual like.
See, I love mowing.
Unengaged eye roll look on her face. And it's
weeds.
not because she doesn't care about the lawn, but she doesn't care about me talking about the lawn so much. Which I get.
Yeah.
And I appreciate. And
Speaking
I love you,
of the
sweetie.
fam, what's Jane doing?
Oh my gosh.
I'm so proud of her.
Okay, so today was day 3 of her junior golf camp at Lake Arbor Golf Course.
Yay!
And it has been such a cool and adorable experience.
Is Evan doing that? Do you know?
Evan was one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. He's
Yeah.
cool.
He's kind of in charge of it, I think, because
Yeah,
he's the one
I think
checking
so.
everybody
He's
in.
one of the pros.
And then he was with us on the range for the first 2 days. He was helping them with their irons and then their drivers on the second day. But today, the third day, which is the final day, we went out
Yay.
on the course. And they were so adorable. And she loves it.
Good.
She's really enjoying it. So I think we're going to be able to go to the range. And one thing I was thinking about, because my wife doesn't have clubs, is we can go to The Turn, which is a new business that just opened in Old Town, Arvada.
I went there last night.
And what did you think?
It was awesome. It's really, really awesome. I just don't like golf simulators.
I don't either. But
don't read my things right. The distance is not correct.
No.
I know how far I hit everything, and
of anybody, I would trust you to say that more than anybody
so
else.
that's the one thing. But it's just that's my I like to win, and then I try to swing so hard because that's what it's reading is the club speed. But that's not I swing, just have a good smooth swing that goes far. But it doesn't read it in the simulator. So then I try and swing harder, and then my whole game, I don't know. We'll see.
In the simulators, I feel I'm the same, and I feel like I'm not swinging the right way because I feel like I'm going to hit something. I know I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I'm self-conscious in my head. I can't turn it off no matter what I do. But we did talk about doing that because since Jeannie doesn't have clubs, we could go do that for an hour as a family.
Yeah, you should.
And just even if we just hit a few holes, it'd be really fun.
It's so fun. And that place is really cool.
Yeah, the setup there, they did a great job. But Jane also got a free 5-visit punch card to the range at Lake Arbor.
Love
so
that.
we're probably going to exercise that in the next few days too. So
You have little junior clubs?
She has a tiny little set with a driver, a wedge, and a putter. So,
gosh, the other day I was driving by. Well, I was going in like the Five Parks area.
Yeah.
And they had a garage sales around the whole neighborhood.
oh, nice.
And I missed it because someone else saw it earlier. But I guess there was a house that had all these golf clubs. Like, that would have been perfect. If I see anything of that, I'll let you know. Also, I mean, play it against sports. You might be able to find something.
That's where we got James.
I actually might have some that you can have.
Well, and even if it's just to borrow, because
really
we're probably gonna just get a couple clubs from the clubhouse.
My friend stored them at my house and hasn't touched them, and I'm not gonna use them because I have my clubs.
Well, I mean, anything to get her out there because since
Jeannie.
Jane's engaged in it, Jeannie's now like I mean,
Ooh.
she likes going the idea of like Topgolf and all that stuff, but getting out there together as a family.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the courses do the like the junior tees. They have them there. Did Lake Harbor have them set up?
No, we just walked to like the 150 stick on hole 2 and 3, and that's where they teed off.
Okay.
And it was really cute, and they had a great time.
Sometimes they put up the junior ones. I can't remember.
I got to tell you this too. This is not this kind of podcast, but I have to do this. So she's in a group of 5 little kids, and they're ranged from like 5 to 9 years old or something like that. And this kid, he was maybe 8. He was full on, like
Ricky
dad
Fowler?
mode level of kid at the age of 8. This kid had the glasses that flipped up. The glasses with the sunglasses that flip up. He had his like dad shoes. He had his bag on his back, and he's talking to the coach who's out there with us.
Love that.
He's like, "Do you mind if I put my bag next to your bag?" And then other people are swinging, and he goes, "So my Callaway clubs, they were like $400." And he's talking about that. And then when he didn't hit a good shot, he's commenting. He's like, "Wow, these clubs need to be punished. It's obviously the club's fault."
Oh.
And I'm just listening to this kid, and I'm trying not to laugh because I've golfed with him, but at the age of 38. Like, someone who is that guy exists as an adult, but he was a little kid. I'm like, man, it was just like something out of a TV show. It was entertaining. So I got a little laugh this morning, along with watching my daughter hit some good shots.
Yeah,
like she got up and down a couple times with her wedge, right under the green, looking good from 20, 30 yards out.
Honestly, get her in golf. Like,
oh, I can't wait.
High school golf is the best. And then college.
Yep.
And then she'll become a professional.
And she can become a professional. Plus, she'll get a scholarship.
Then you can retire.
I'm just glad to be there to support, but also, can I play Augusta?
Yes. Okay.
All right. Sorry. I digress.
Beers.
Let's talk about the beers.
These are delicious.
So, a happy accident is what we'll call this.
Explain how you came about
a
coat and a dog.
Okay, so we...
And this is Knotted Root Brewing Company. Is where they're from, right?
Knotted Root. Yeah, that's correct. So that's the name of the brewery. They're in Nederland, Colorado. If you don't know where that is, that makes sense because some people don't. But it's a little mountain community tucked away outside of Boulder. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's
towards the mountains.
It's a trek. Mm-hmm. But originally we were looking for a different brewery. Time constraints were there. I wasn't able to go to the brewery. Actually went over to Warrior Liquor on 64th and Wood. Love them. Shout out to them. And we're looking through, and no joke, my daughter Jane was with me, and we're looking through the coolers. I'm like, well, Jane, you don't see that brewery. What do you see? And she saw the image on the one can that Nicole is drinking, which is an adorable dog.
It is cute.
And the name of that beer is...
Perpetual Patience.
With the face of a very focused puppy dog on it. And Jane said, I like that one. So we got it. And lo and behold.
She picked the best beer ever. This is really good. It's an unfiltered double dry hopped IPA. And it is hitting all the notes.
Yeah.
It's like juicy and a little bit bitter, but it's really good.
And so normally we feature breweries that we either know about or we love or we've been to, whatever. This is none of that, but it now is. I mean,
yeah,
I would go there not only because Nederland is gorgeous because it's tucked away back there, but also, I mean, I looked them up. They have bingo nights every Thursday. They have live music a couple times a week.
I love bingo.
It's tucked away in the mountains, so it's probably gorgeous. But I mean, what's not to love? So this guy over here is called Cheap Fabric and Dim Lighting, the Unfiltered Marine Biologist IPA. So it's a little bit headier than the Perpetual Patience that Nicole's drinking. This one's 7.6%. But their beers
look the same. This one I think is more Perpetual Patience is more juicy.
Yeah, I agree
a little
with
more
that.
fruity.
Yep.
That one's a little bit more,
which is unusual from a dry hopped ale. Usually
I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
When they're dry hop, that you get a lot of that brightness, like almost like the pine tree scents from the hops because they're so fresh in there. But they're both unfiltered. That's why they kind of look similar, and that's one of the things that they specialize in, which is what I looked up too. But this one definitely has a lot more of that, like, heady taste. You can taste that it's a little boozier, and it's definitely got that bitterness from a traditional IPA. So apparently marine biologists like a bitter IPA.
Yes.
Who knew? But worth a check out, even at your local liquor store. Check out Knotted Root or go visit them. And Knotted Root, if you're listening, which we'll try and make sure that you are, because I'll see if I can somehow connect the dots through social medias.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would love to come check you guys out too.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Delicious. Speaking of can't wait, let's get into the stats.
Who can't wait for numbers? Honestly.
I love numbers.
I mean, we have a fair number of loyal listeners these days.
Yeah.
And I think that to this day, our market updates are the consistently highest downloaded and listened to episodes. So we think that you guys are numbers nerds like us, which is awesome.
I love that.
That's great.
Yes. So let's jump right in. So for residential homes in the Denver metro area, the average price was $697,000. That was a 2.8% increase from April. And then remember, we kind of look at the median price as a little bit of a better gauge. So the median price of the home was $595,000. So 2.59% increase from April.
That's all residential.
All residential. Yep. Attached and detached together combined. So looking at them separate, the detached median price for a single family home was $660,000. And that was a 3.12% increase from April. And then the median price for the attached home, so the townhouses, condos, those types of homes, was $425,000. And a 3.8% increase from April. So increases across the board, which I think is, usually that's pretty normal in our spring market, and everything's just kind of caught up as well as far as closings in May.
Yeah, time of year, for sure.
But it is important to note, so the median residential price for May this year was down 3.25% from May of 2022.
I think that's super important because I know we've talked about this a lot, mostly on market updates, but prior to 2023, the last 2 years, 2020 through 2022, were unprecedented, unsustainable
increases.
Like wonky increases. Yeah. And it was just the demand and the fact that money was kind of free to borrow.
Yeah.
Or close to free to
borrow. Low interest rates. And I mean, summer of 2022 was when we saw the highest pricing for the most part.
So I think, like you said, I agree completely. I think things are starting to correct or catch up to what is supposed to be a little bit closer to a normal market.
Yeah, I think so.
Other little stats for you. We have average days in the MLS for May was 22 days. So that's down from April. I think we saw it close to a month in April, if I'm not mistaken. It was like 28 or 29 days on market. 28. So it's a little bit shorter time, which is also a spring market thing. 21 days on average for detached homes, then 24 for attached. And then active listings at month's end, we had 5,228 active listings at month's end. That's up from April. That means we had more inventory at the end of the month than we did at the end of April. 43.15% increase from a year ago. So pricing coming down a little bit, inventory going up a little bit from a year ago. I think that's music to a lot of people's ears.
Yeah, we're getting to be a balanced market. I think we're at 1.5 months of inventory. They say a balanced market is about 2.
Yeah, I think we even got down the rabbit hole of, certain areas of the country you'd want to look at 4 months or something like that. And I don't know what the national average is, but I think, it'd be great if we could get 2 or above, and I think we can. I think we be interesting to see how this year continues. Yeah. We're at the halfway point. It'll be interesting to see what happens as the seasonality kind of tapers off too. But and then looking at amount of closed homes, we had a number of closed homes in May was 4,167. That is up from April. So we're talking about a 6.7% increase from last month. But that is down 28% from a year ago. So,
which is a lot. That means that houses aren't moving quite as much or as fast.
A little anecdotal piece from my own experience. Last year, I'll never forget it. We had our a closing on that last day of May 31st. We did not have another. I say we because Dad and I work together on a lot of these. We did not have another closing until September. So we typically stay relatively steady-ish. Yeah. And so knowing that May was still that kind of boom month, I'll be curious to see how June's numbers come in.
Yeah.
As we do our market update in July, because our personal experience was crickets after the interest rates started to climb.
Yeah. I think they picked up this spring though. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A year ago.
But yeah. But yes, it will be very interesting to see what happens this summer.
To compare, yeah.
And compare.
Yes, indeed. Last couple of notes here. We had 5,180 new listings in the month of May, which is almost 9% increase from the month before.
Seemed like a lot of people put their houses on, or sellers decided to put them on in May.
Yeah. Well,
I noticed that.
It was probably a lot of advice from their agents. Mm-hmm. A lot of people try to catch that.
Try and catch the spring market. Very important.
Which May still counts as spring to realtors, just so you guys know. And then average close to list price was 100.49% for residential homes. That means at or above list price pretty much across the board for the entire month. So that shows that competition.
Yeah, second month in a row that they've been over 100%.
That's right.
So other than that, we haven't seen that for a while.
And then checking the rates as of
yesterday.
We're...
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
June 5th.
Yes.
Was yesterday.
We're looking at 6.89% on a 30-year conventional loan without buying any points. That is a national number from Mortgage News Daily. Obviously, having a really good lender that you trust and know, you can maybe find ways to find a better number.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's getting up there. So diving into what this means for our buyers, I mean, May's numbers reflected the spring bump of activity. We did see more competition within the market. Definitely saw more buyers out there. But buyers do have the opportunity to be more picky. So, because there's more inventory. So with the 5,200 new listings, they can kind of keep an eye on those listings coming out and decide which house that they want to go after. But it is important to keep in mind that if there's a house that you really like, there's probably other people that really like it as well. So, be ready, be prepared to be competitive and to go in there if that's the situation.
It's worth talking to your agent too, because I'm sure you're this way.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I look at a home when it's priced a certain way. A home close to Old Town Arvada. It was a little 3-bed, 1-bath, ranch style home within like half a mile of Old Town proper, and they priced it at $500,000.
They did that on purpose.
Do you think there was maybe more than one or two people that had eyes on that property?
Ooh, this looks great.
So it's worth
what
that
a
conversation.
deal.
Yeah, it's worth that conversation with your agent to make sure that, oh man, I love this house, but I'm not sure if I want to make an offer on it. Talk to us, because if we see something like that and you're maybe not thinking in that direction, odds are somebody else is
probably going to go,
if not a lot of people.
Quite a bit higher. Yeah. It's very dependent on what houses are being priced at, and the neighborhoods.
100%.
It's important to have your agent, a trusted agent to help
Trusted
you
agent.
out.
If only we knew where to find one of those, or two, maybe two of those would be good.
Yes. The last thing, with interest rates being where they're at, it was a slow climb, but now we're up to almost 7%. And I think it's really hitting in that it's been steadying out. So with that, it's important to try and be creative on different ways that you can kind of try and adjust that number as best you can. So there's different ways to do that with a lender. I mean, there's list and lock is one. And you can call us or Michelle Beeson if you have any questions more specifically. So we have that one. Home Fund It is a cool new program.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So it's basically, well, can you describe it?
Yeah. So it is almost like a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
But it is designed for someone to be able to put it out to their friends, family, or whomever to try and have them toss in $10 here, $50 there, whatever, towards the original down payment for their home. And it's coupled with a loan that is, can be one of a few different kinds of loans. But it's essentially, if you don't have the money for a down payment, you can put it out there to your friends. And GoFundMes are wildly successful, so it almost acts like a mirror of that.
And how cool would that be as like a graduation gift or something like that?
Or
from college,
like a wedding
or wedding
present? Come on.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool product.
So yeah, there's a lot of different products out there. I mean, we even talked about seller financing as well today. That's also an option.
Yeah, and you mentioned Michelle at CMG Home Loans. She's our buddy. If you haven't watched that interview with a lender episode that we did back time ago, because we do need to address the elephant in the room of what episode number we're on too. But we did have really good conversations, and that was back before a lot of these things rolled out. She is an amazing resource for just education. I can't stress that enough. I am currently in a transaction with her as my lender for my buyers. Man, it has been a whirlwind / I don't want to say headache because that's a negative connotation, so I won't say headache, but it really has been a lot.
It's been a lot.
And bless her heart, she has been endlessly positive and endlessly just creative with a solution. So,
I love that.
Yeah. So, and Home Fund It.
Yeah, she's great.
List and Lock and a couple of these
all
other products.
in one.
They all fall under the CMG umbrella.
Yeah.
So she's the one who you'd want to talk to. So yeah.
Awesome.
Trusted lender.
It's important.
We sound like boomer
That was
parents.
good.
Just saying, it's important. Just putting it out there. Sorry, Mom. She's not listening. She doesn't know how podcasts work anyway. All right, so let's talk about what this
sellers
means. What does this mean for sellers? So in the current market, it might sound a little juicy that there's competition out there, right? It sounds like, oh man, people are still competing. They're selling above list. And it's true to some degree. I think that's important to note. But we also mentioned inventory has gone up. So you are, if you're a seller that's going to list your home right now, you are part of that little bit larger pool of homes. It's not huge. You're not getting lost in the mix, but you may have a slightly fewer eyes on your property. So I think it's important to have that expectation going in. We had a sales meeting this morning actually, where one of our experienced agents at another office mentioned this, and I think it's important to say, is even though we're still a historic low inventory and all the different factors that make it a competitive market and a good time to sell, it's important to have a reasonable expectation that you may put your home on the market and it may not sell in 13 hours. Right. You may have to be a little patient. So I think that having that realistic expectation going in is really important.
Yeah, and realistic on price as well.
Absolutely.
That's huge. I mean, people just got their tax assessments, and those were based off of 2022 summer months. And so looking at, the numbers, like I said, they've came down 3.5%. So it's important to maybe not have that number in your head and know what's going on now.
Very true. And I think the fact that people got their tax assessments on the seller side is a reason why a lot of people are like, hey, I might need to sell my home.
Yes,
I'm not paying those taxes. And it's a very real discussion.
Or my house is worth how much?
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing it from one side or the other. I can't do it. Or, oh man, I could really cash in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you are the person that's going to sell, and this is not a right now thing, this is an anytime thing, but I can't stress it enough, especially right now. Differentiating your property in the marketplace is so crucial. And one of the best ways to do that, even though it is an added cost, is professional staging of a property. Dad and I are about to put one on the market tomorrow or the next day, that they're moved out. They're already out of state in their new home. And we had a professional stager come through, and we don't typically do that, but these clients requested it. And as I'm seeing the work she's done for the amount that she's charging, the value is there. and it's really going to make that home overall. I think it is worthwhile to make the home sell for a higher dollar amount than if it's vacant.
That's awesome. And if it is, the staging is longer than, say, a month or whatever, or the listing stays on for a little bit longer, you can always maybe take it out too, right?
Yeah, and you can also, I think most of their contracts are 30 days.
Yeah, 30 days.
So you can negotiate those things with them.
But with the staging, I mean, that's going to help it go off the market sooner.
Yep. And that's the aim,
That's
and I really believe in it. And I say that from someone
too.
who never really recommends it to clients, but it actually, I'm
it
watching
makes
this
the
unfold.
house feel homey and livable, and like it could be your house.
It's so true.
I think it shows potential buyers how to utilize
Right.
the space. If it's completely vacant, empty, and you're like, what can I do in this room? This room's just kind of, you don't see it. But the second you have a proper set of furniture in there and everything's arranged smartly, they instantly go, wow, I would totally do that.
Yes, I think
So
that's
I think, the biggest value point in staging is the visualization of how to live in that house.
100%. And that ignites that fire within that person, and it might ignite that fire in a couple people, and all of a sudden you have a couple different sets of people who are lit ablaze and they really want to buy this home, and all of a sudden you have a bidding war. So that's
I can't wait to find out what happens with
well,
this
me
listing.
too. We go live. We go live. Today is a Wednesday, and we go live by Friday. So it will be our first weekend. I will let you guys know. We definitely did have that expectation conversation with the clients of, it's not, let's not plan for it being off the market by Monday. Let's not, because it's silly.
Right.
We want to be realistic. So. And then a little bit further down the road, if you're a seller, this is my last point here. If you are under contract and you are in the process with a buyer who is doing their inspection, and they issue you an inspection objection, and they are asking for everything, and I'm speaking from a recent experience, on the planet, but this is something that's pretty common. Buyers that are not sure or maybe don't have the best advice from their agent, they will ask for.
They ask for people. Well, and I understand it because you want your house to be in good condition.
100%.
But you have to also know that you're buying a house that is, however many years old, and it's not going to be perfect, right?
No home is perfect, and
Right.
I agree with you.
Even new builds.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think we talked to somebody when we were at the new build, little on-site thing that we did a few episodes back, and I think they even said that there's inspection still because no home is perfect. Not even a new home is perfect. So that's another expectation kind of conversation to have with buyers. But
sorry, what were you saying?
No, it's okay. I think the dream is to just be realistic with these people. My recent experience, I will not get too far down the rabbit hole because I don't want to make it sound, it's not closed yet, so I don't want to make it sound too crazy, but there was a laundry list of things that were asked for, some of which were really unreasonable, just really unreasonable to my eyes, to my seller's eyes. And we ended up going back and saying, we're not going to do any of these things because that's ridiculous. And my seller was completely understanding that we may have to go back on the market and accepting of that. And I was shared that honesty with the agent on the other side. We moved through inspection. We're on to the next thing. So
did your seller do any of them?
No.
None of them?
No. Because none of them were crucial to the health and safety of an individual living in the home, which was not part of the contract, but so many of them felt so petty. I didn't want to say it, so you didn't. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Please clean the gutters out of
your... Well, it was, I mean...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes...
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no screw in this outlet.
How's this? Teaser alert. Once it closes, the episode after that, I'll share the details because I want to make sure that you guys know all the ins and
love
outs.
it.
But it was new for me to see some of this stuff in an inspection. So my thought here for a seller is don't feel like you have to just succumb because you got the price you wanted. You don't have to. You have power still in that inspection time.
That's part of the negotiations.
Mm-hmm. So make sure that you're not giving in so easily.
But as a buyer, still ask for the things that need to be done. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Don't be some sort of line in the sand. We're not going to do any of it. That was a unique experience too on that side. But there should be reasonable middle ground. And like I said, I felt like in this
That's
scenario,
cool.
they were not being reasonable. So we were not reasonable right back. And that's just how it worked. But in general, yeah, it should be a conversation.
You about this after.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. Sorry, guys. You'll have to wait. Okay. So yeah, that was my last thought as a seller. Just make sure you're having your agent really talk through those things with you and decide what is important to you and where you're comfortable with those inspection objections and how you resolve those things.
Love it. Good point.
So that brings us to a close on the May market update for 2023. We appreciate all of you for listening. Oh, the elephant in the room. What? Thank you, Nico. I got a hand signal. It was not inappropriate, by the way, from Nico.
Are you sure? Just kidding.
If it were in direct reflection of my age, maybe, but it's not yet. We do need to address the elephant in the room.
It's episode 40.
Episode 40.
Right?
We
40.
made it to 40.
Woohoo!
And we look back today. Yes.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
That is so good.
It is.
Really
and
good.
We actually, coincidentally, or not, maybe, I don't know, looked back at episode 1.
I know, Nico. I was like, was that episode 1? I saw him looking at it.
And I am just, I am beyond excited about how far we've come. I am proud of this team. I think it's really freaking cool to see how well this has gone. And for all of you that are listening, we can't appreciate you enough. So thank you. But yeah, just from episode 1 to now, we've done a lot. I think we're a little more comfortable behind the microphone and in front of the camera.
I am. You have always been.
I don't know. That first one was pretty monotone.
Was it?
Yeah. But it's okay.
I haven't watched. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
I think at one time the camera was actually up my nose, which I didn't understand completely. But it was okay.
Yeah, on the box.
Yeah, that was where I really realized. Yeah, these are awesome.
The anti-echo stuff, the lighting, all of that. I mean, I have learned.
Nico has perfected it.
And it shows, by the way. So thank you,
he is the best.
Sir,
thank you, Nico.
R. Wilson, for behind the camera goodness.
Yeah.
Although you've been in front of the
Really
camera for an episode, which I was
That was
grateful
fun
for.
one.
Yeah,
That was
awesome.
a good one.
That is the most downloaded episode to date.
Yeah.
By the way, so
and Nick
I'm
wasn't
actually,
on it.
I'm actually tendering my resignation as well with this episode. This is my last one. Nico will be your co-host going forward. I will just sit in the corner and drink beer and cry. So, but no, we really appreciate you guys. 40 episodes in. It was April of 2022 when we started this, and I don't see an end. So I would like to keep going with this.
That's really good.
Heck yeah, it is.
I'm proud of us.
Me too. Good job.
And you,
Good
Nico.
job. Good job.
And
Nico,
our
we're
listeners.
dream cheesing you. Cheersing you.
Yes.
Cheesing you. All of it.
All of them. Cheese.
And to that end, Knotted Root, you did it right for us on episode number 40, so thank you.
you.
We'll come visit you. We will promote
I can't
you.
wait.
Gosh, this place
them.
is tremendous.
I'm excited.
And Jane, good job picking out the beer with the cute doggy on it.
Yeah, thanks, Jane.
And then if you haven't subscribed, please do, because what the heck by now. And also, we appreciate it. And we love it. So, yeah, we like it. And we'll give a little update on, I don't know, how many downloads and all that kind of stuff, too, because I feel like that's a fun stat on the
We're
next
going to have
episode,
a fun
too.
little update next. You guys are going to have a good episode next time.
Can't wait.
Lots of cliffhangers.
But in the meantime, to the summer months and to episode 41.
Woohoo!
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you.